StrayAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself. It's going to make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is 3 levels of speed or 3 levels of fast, whichever you prefer to call it. We're going to get into that in a second. First, let me remind everybody I send out a text message every day guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. I call it daily motivation. I send one out every week. Also called the Monday motivation. You can get these texts to your phone every day. All you got to do is text me at my number 305-384-6894. It's free to join my text community. We'll tell you your options as soon as you get in. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. This is for top 2% performers. It's the only place that I coach anyone. The only place you can work with me directly is inside the university. If you are one of those people who wants to be at the top of your industry, you want to be at the top of your space, you're already there, you want to make sure you stay at the top of the space, or you want to get there, but you're not quite sure how to get there, you don't know if what you're doing right now is going to have you on track towards getting there, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com where you can work with someone like myself who has experience doing it myself and working with other people like you. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can schedule a time to get on a call with us and we will take it from there. But all that out the way, let's get into the topic, which is 3 levels of speed and fast. You've heard me talk about speed and the value of it many times here on the show. I talk about it a lot with reference to the fact that we all have a limited amount of time here on this planet known as our lives. So we want to make sure we can get to the things we want to get to as quickly as possible. So we have more time to do more of the things that we want to do before that time expires. And the absolute necessity for speed, not only in life, but also in our businesses, because we want to achieve certain things in our businesses, which may not last quite as long as our lives. Usually people stop working at some point, but you still got a little bit more life left to live. So today I'm going to go even deeper on this subject and explain the different ways that you can use speed, the different ways that you can use moving fast in your life, because there are sub levels to this. So let's get into it. Point number one. Topic once again is the different levels of speed and fast. Number one is the micro level. So micro speed, micro fast. This means your actual physical movements and getting things done on a day-to-day basis on a tactical level. This is micro speed. So for example, if it takes you 20 minutes every morning to shave and get dressed when you're getting ready to head out into the world, see if you can do it in 15 minutes instead. All right, that's micro speed. Instead of taking 20 minutes, let's take 15. Instead of giving yourself 2 hours to write your 500 words per day for your book that you have coming out, get those 500 words done in 90 minutes. All right, that is micro speed. You're basically buying yourself time by taking the same activity that took you a certain amount of time and getting it done in less time. Instead of spending an hour in the gym, see if you can get your workout done in 30 minutes, where you are not sacrificing on the actual effectiveness and the productivity that is being produced and the effect that is being effected, but you're just doing it in a shorter amount of time. So it's not like we're losing a little bit of effectiveness in the process of going faster. You're just going faster, but getting the same thing done. All right, so I want to make sure that part is added in there when we talk about micro speed. So this means simply moving faster, which anybody can do when we have a good enough reason to do so and when you are conscious about it, because faster is a relative term. So some of you already move at a speed that most people might see as fast, but for you is normal. You can move faster than that if you get conscious about it and you're constantly thinking about, okay, let me see if I can move a little bit faster than this, a little bit faster than that. When you're conscious about it, you can break the inertia of your common habits and possibly do something different that could possibly produce a better outcome for you. But in order for any of that to happen, you have to test it. The biggest challenge with any of this is that many people never even consider what their habits are, let alone do they consider how they could possibly break the inertia of those habits. And therefore, there's another reason why, another angle that I'm approaching to tell you why many people don't change. One of the main reasons people don't change is not because they don't want to do something different or better, etc. Simply because they're never consciously aware of what they're currently doing, and thus that there may be a way to do it differently. If you never become conscious about something that's unconscious to you, then you probably you're not going to change it on purpose. And that change that happens involuntarily is probably not the kind of change that you want, because we know by the law of entropy that any entity is always moving towards a higher and higher state of chaos. So anytime that we make change and it's involuntary, usually it's going in a direction that we don't want to go. But the change that we make that is voluntary and conscious and intentional, it is eligible, excuse me, to take us where we want to go. Because again, any other kind of change that just happens by itself usually is going to follow the scientific law of entropy, which means that an entity is moving into a higher and higher state of disorder, also known as chaos. And this is how most people live their lives. They get into a higher and higher state of disorder over life as life goes on, simply because they're not constantly thinking about how can I change this for the positive, or even if they know about how they could possibly change it for the positive, they're not willing to do it. So they end up just simply not doing it. So this is, again, simply moving faster. Anybody can do this when you're thinking about it and you give yourself a good enough reason to do it. So any of you has ever woken up, for example, any of you ever woke up 20 or 30 minutes later than you expected to wake up, like for whatever reason you overslept, but you still needed to be at work on time, i.e. the same time that you normally get to work, even though you normally get up 30 minutes earlier than you had that day? Everyone has experienced that. And we all know, because of that, what it feels like to move faster when necessity calls for it. Everyone listening to me has been in a situation where you had a short amount of time, at least by your estimation, to get something done, but it absolutely had to be done in that short amount of time. That was less time than you probably would give yourself if you were left to your own devices. But you weren't to your own devices. You had this amount of time and you had to get it done. And somehow, some way, you were able to get it done because you all of a sudden felt the adrenaline rush. You got a sense of urgency, and you were able to get all that stuff done in a short period of time. And maybe it caused you a little bit of stress. Maybe it caused you a little bit of anxiety. Maybe it took a couple minutes or weeks off of your life because of that anxiety and stress that you went through. But you were able to get it done in a short period of time. So everyone knows what it feels like to move faster when necessity calls for it. Another thing, necessity is relative. Some people say it's a necessity for me to work out every single day. Other people say it's a luxury to work out every single day. So necessities are relative. What you consider a need may not be a need for another person, which means, I'm reading between the lines for you here. If you were to take all the things that you want to do in life and turn them into need to do's, then you would probably find a little bit more urgency and a little bit more energy and motivation, if you will, to actually get those things done. All I'm suggesting here on the micro level is that you get conscious about moving faster, which will allow you to miraculously move a lot faster than you normally do. And that's tongue in cheek there. Do this often enough on a conscious level, and it becomes unconscious, also known as a habit. You can also do things ahead of time. There's another thing you can do on a micro speed level. Do things ahead of time to set yourself up to make it easier, such as laying your clothes out the night before so you don't have to waste 2 minutes thinking about what to put on. You already took that 2 minutes and figured it out the day before. So in the morning, you just gave yourself 2 minutes because you used it the previous night. So anything that needs to be done the next day, maybe you can prepare it ahead of time. You know you're going to need to do certain work when you get to the office tomorrow. How about before you leave the office tonight, you put the pieces in place that you know you're going to need to access tomorrow morning. So when you get to the office, you can sit down and go straight to work, and you don't have to spend time getting yourself organized. These are small things, but they can add up to big things when they become habits. In other words, when you do them all the time. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is 3 levels of speed. Number 2 is intermediate speed. Now, the intermediate level of speed is about your strategy, not just your tactics and things you do moment by moment. The strategy is the big picture plan of what you're going to do, how, and why you're going to do it. In other words, making plans that will allow you to move faster because you have a structure in place, putting the structure in place that allows faster movement to happen naturally. Remember how I've always told you that discipline is governed by structure. Structure is governed by parameters or principles. Anyone who wants to be more disciplined, first thing you need to do is install a structure in your life that allows the discipline to occur. Many people simply don't have structure, which is why you struggle with discipline. You have no structure. There's no organization in your life. So therefore, it's hard for you to create discipline because discipline is a result of having some type of organization, some type of systematic plan and process by which you operate. If you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult to be disciplined. And it will be you always feel like you're fingers on a chalkboard trying to be disciplined when you have no structure. So if you would like to move faster through life, when I say faster through life, not faster to get to death, but achieving more in the same amount of time that you're going to have, then you need to put a structure in place that allows you to move faster, that supports this faster movement. It's like if you wanted to put a really strong V12 engine in a vehicle, you're better off putting it inside of a Lamborghini than putting it inside of a Hyundai or a smart car, right? Because it might overwhelm the Hyundai or the smart car because they're not made to support that type of speed, but the Lamborghini is made for it. So how about you put the V12 engine that you want to use to move faster in life? How about you take that speedy engine and create a structure that is more like a Lamborghini than like a Volvo or a Honda, right? So it allows you to move faster. That's what the structure does. What do I mean by this? I kind of just told you. Let me tell you more. If you want more leads in your business, for example, any of you who's in sales, I think we all want more high quality, what do we call them, qualified leads in our business, right? How about you figured out an automated process that generates more leads? Maybe you don't need to figure it out. Maybe you need to connect with someone who does figure out how to get leads generated for you so that you don't have to do it at all, but the leads are still coming in. How about hiring someone whose only job is generating leads for you so you don't have to do it yourself, whether that be an outside person or an inside person? How about putting processes in place in your business so that certain activities get repeated over and over again, or activities that get repeated over and over again can be done by someone or something other than you? So they don't need to come to you to ask you what to do every time it happens. Now you have more free space to go and do the more important things that only you can do. You're at home, for example. How about laying out your clothes for the entire week on Sunday night so you don't have to pick what to wear every day for the week coming up? Thus, you can save yourself some time. See, a lot of the structure required to increase your speed in life is based on thinking and planning ahead before the activity occurs. So it's easy for you to move with speed when the activity occurs. It's actually a very simple concept, but a lot of people don't do this because a lot of people, again, they don't think along these lines. I'm giving you a mental structure that you can utilize to create more discipline for yourself. And this is a really simple one. It's simply preparing ahead of time. And one of the hallmarks of being a true professional, folks, is preparation. Professionals are always prepared ahead of time for the situation before it happens. They don't wait till the situation occurs and then they go do something. You want to be more professional in your discipline and your execution, and specifically as relates to today's masterclass topic, your speed. What you need to do is start thinking about how can I prepare ahead of time. I know all the things I'm going to need to do over the next day, week, month, etc. How can I prepare ahead of time for those things so that I'm not rushing at the last minute to get them done? Thinking and planning, folks, in and of itself is a discipline. Just taking the time to think about and plan ahead for something you're going to do is a discipline on its own. And any of you can start doing this. Again, you don't need any special tools. You don't need any money. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need to have any degrees. All you got to do is just take time to think and plan ahead for something that you know is already coming. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is 3 levels of speed. Number 3, big picture speed. Big picture speed is about thinking long term about your life and your career, like the overall life and career, and where you want to be in your life and career. All of this is with respect to the fact that we know our time is limited. And for most people, that means you need to get to your long-term desires much sooner than your current pace suggests you're going to get there. I want to repeat that one. We have to respect the fact that our time is limited. And for most of us, that means the long-term desires that we have, we need to get to them much faster than our current pace suggests we're going to get there. So right now, if your goal is you want to make $20,000 a month, I hear these kind of numbers from entrepreneurs, these cute round numbers all the time: $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month in their business. All right, that's what you want to do. But right now, you're at maybe $1,000 a month in your business. Then you need to make some wholesale changes, and you need to make them now, not when you're comfortable with them, because your current pace suggests you are never going to get to that $20,000 a month given what you're doing right now. You're not going to get there at this pace. If you keep doing the things that you're already doing, you are nowhere close to getting there. You should be open to putting every single thing you're doing right now on the chopping block. Any of you who's in a situation where you have a certain goal and you are far from it, and your current pace does not have you on track to get there, and this requires you being honest with yourself. Again, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of entrepreneurs like to say things that make them sound and look good, but the reality of their situations sound or look a lot different than how they talk. You got to get honest with yourself. And the more honest you are with yourself about where you really are at and what pace you're currently on, the more open you need to be about deleting and eliminating some things that clearly are not producing the desired results. So how much change are you willing to undergo right now, given your goals and given your current situation, and also given your current pace? So what I mean with this, going further, is taking bigger forward leaps instead of just one step at a time. Many people want to move forward in life. Almost everybody wants to move forward in life. The problem is many people want to move forward one step at a time. The problem with taking one step at a time is that you are never going to reach your goal because it takes too long. One step at a time, it takes too long. It's like if you were going to, any of you ever open up Google Maps and you pull up a place that is far away from you and ask Google Maps how long it would take you to get there. So, for example, I live in Miami, Florida. So I'm going to pull up Los Angeles on Google Maps. So when I pull up Los Angeles on Google Maps and I go to directions, it says if I was to take now they used to give you a little time estimates here, they're not giving me the time estimates. Oh, maybe I got to choose my location. Okay, so when I put my location, let's see if they give me the time estimates now. I'm waiting for it to come up. I'll just type in Miami, Florida, see if that works. For some reason, it's taking an extra second to give me the information. Well, while I'm waiting for this to pull up, oh, here it is. All right, so I'll pull up Google Maps for going from Miami, Florida to Los Angeles, California. It right now, if I was to leave right now, this moment when I'm recording this, it says it would take me 1 day and 15 hours, so about a day and a half plus to drive to California. It's 39 hours is what it says to drive to California. It's actually not that bad. Now, if I was to take a train, they have some type of public transport, which is pretty much Greyhound buses. I could take Greyhound buses. I could catch them at the Miami airport, and it would take me 2 days and 16 hours to get to Los Angeles by Greyhound bus. All right, so you got 39 hours, which is about 1.5 days. Then you got 3 days, which is on the train. Then you have 10 days if you were to take a bicycle. If you were to bicycle across the country from Miami to Los Angeles, it would take you 10 days and 10 hours. If you were to walk from Miami to Los Angeles, it would take 43 days to walk, 2,840 miles to walk from Miami to Los Angeles. And last one I'll look at, they do have an option of with ride share, but they don't have the plans laid out. If you take an airplane, it says Spirit Airlines, which is out of the question. JetBlue and American Airlines. I'm not a huge fan of JetBlue, but American I will take. You can fly from Miami to Los Angeles. There are 14 to 17 flights per day, just in general, not just with one airline. And that flight's about 5 hours and 35 minutes. The whole point here being there are different ways that you can get to the same outcome. Some happen a lot faster than others. The challenge for many of you is that you want to get to your outcome, but you want to do it your way, which is usually by what we call baby steps. I talked about this in episode 2685. Baby steps are too small and too slow. Baby steps are basically you doing things at the pace that you are comfortable with. The pace that you're comfortable with is too slow. That's why you're in the position that you're in right now, where you are looking way up at the goal that you want to get to and understanding that you are on the clock. And given the amount of time you got left and where you are and where you want to go, something ain't right. All right. As they like to say, the math is not mathing right now, given where you are, because you're taking baby steps. We need to take bigger steps and we need to take them right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel like it, now. Many people don't want to do this, is another reason why people don't change. Many entrepreneurs I talk to tell me what their goal is, and they're usually some form of financial goal, some other measurable in their career, life, or business. And once we start to actually break down how they plan on reaching that goal, 95% of the time, that's 19 times out of 20, they realize through conversation that their plan does not mathematically match the goal. In other words, if I keep doing things this way, there's no way I'll hit that goal because we just break it down. And I actually showed them, look, give them that number you said here, and this number here, and this number here, and this number here, and these numbers over here. We add all this up and do the multiplication. You are like 40% of the way to the goal if we keep operating by what you currently have in your head. So you got a problem here. All right, this is a big problem. And this happens again, 95% of the time this happens when I talk to people. Because again, what I'll tell you in point number 2, thinking and planning about what's coming is one of the marks of a professional, is one of the things you can do to easily create discipline for yourself. And 19 times out of 20, entrepreneurs I talk to have not done any thinking and planning about what they want. They've done hoping and wishing and dreaming, but they have not done thinking and planning. Those are two different things. Everybody hear what I just said? Many people I talk to, and this is not limited to entrepreneurs, because this happens with athletes as well, and just people in general. Many people do a lot of hoping, wishing, and dreaming, comma, but not too much thinking and planning. That happens all the time with a lot of people. So I don't want it to be happening to you. That's why I'm pointing it out here. So the financial goal a person has based on the things that they're currently doing, the things they plan on doing, just doesn't add up. Math again is not connecting. They won't reach the goal based on their current process. There was a TV show called The Office that was on, I think it was on Comedy Central for many years, and there was this episode of the show where these people did literally work in an office, and they worked for a paper goods company, so they sold paper. And at one point, the head manager was a guy named Michael Scott. He decided to leave the company and start his own competing paper company, and it was a comedy type of show. So he starts this competing paper company, and the way he competes against his former employer is by undercutting them on price. So he just has prices that are lower than his former employer, and he's taking customers away from them. The problem is, at his bargain basement prices, he's losing money on every sale. So his company is about to be insolvent and go out of business because they're losing money on every sale, even though they're making sales. So they're selling themselves out of business, is what we call this. And Michael goes and sits down with his accountant to see how the business is doing. And the accountant says, well, he says exactly what I just told you. He said, you're about to go out of business. And Michael's like, how are we going out of business? We got all these customers. And the accountant says, but your prices are so low that every time you make a sale, you are losing money. So the more business you do, actually, the faster you are moving towards insolvency and going out of business. And Michael said, that doesn't make sense. Crunch the numbers again. And the accountant responds to him and says, well, this is a spreadsheet document. I can see the numbers right in front of me. And Michael interrupts him and yells at him. He said, crunch the numbers again. And mind you, this is a comedy show. He says, crunch the numbers again. And the accountant, the camera angle, you're looking over the shoulder of the accountant as he's looking at the spreadsheet. He just hits the space bar, which does nothing. And he says, crunch. He just hits the space bar, says crunch, just being kind of condescending to his client. And the accountant just looks at him, looks at Michael Scott, and Michael just has to figure out what to do. But if you watch the TV show The Office, then you get it. If you didn't, go watch the show. It was actually a pretty funny show back in my watching TV days. The whole point is, this is how many people operate. They say, well, I'm doing this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. I'm gonna get to my goal. But when someone who is tasked with telling you the objective, hard, black and white truth, like an accountant is apt to do, they tell you, well, yeah, based on what's in black and white here, you're not doing as well as you say you are, as well as you think you are, and you're actually going in the opposite direction from where you think you're going. And a lot of people need to know that. And the more you know it, as long as you have the discipline and the confidence and the mental toughness to accept it, now at least you're empowered to do something about it. Challenge with a lot of people is that they never actually even get this truth told to them, so they can't do anything about it. So they don't even realize that they're about to go over the edge of the waterfall until it's too late. Many people don't realize this stuff simply because they never sat and really thought hard, done the math, whether literal or figurative, of where they're at and where they're going. And this is the reason why I do what I do as a coach, to help people with this. So what you need to do is take bigger jumps sooner than you planned on taking them, because if you don't take a bigger jump, again, you're going somewhere you don't want to go. This will be uncomfortable for you because it is pushing you out of your comfort zone, the comfort zone that you have grown accustomed to. And if you like to achieve triple the results in half the time as you previously planned, you gotta be willing to get uncomfortable for it to happen. As simple as that. Recapping today's class, which is 3 levels of speed, 3 levels of fast. Number one, the micro level. This is your tactical level. This is what you're doing on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis. Instead of something taking you 30 minutes, see if you can get it done in 20. Now, you don't need to do this with everything and run around like your hair is on fire, but the more things in which you can do this, and this is just simply a matter of making a conscious change and turning it into a habit, this can become your normal mode of operation, is to do things faster than you normally do. Most people operate at a very slow, common pace. So this can get you ahead of most people very quickly if you would just be conscious about it. Number two, intermediate speed. This is about your strategy and your planning. You need to have a structure in place that allows the discipline to occur. And the simplest structure I can give you is to take the time to think and plan ahead for where you are going and what you have coming up so that you are prepared for it before it happens. Most people neglect to do this. Number three, big picture. Big picture speed is about thinking long term about your life and your career and how you can, for example, achieve your 5-year plan in 1 year. How could you do it if you needed to do it? Again, just playing around with the question. asking how could I questions instead of why can't I questions will empower your brain to actually think and do some work for you instead of you allowing it to collect a paycheck while not doing any work. I did an episode on this not too long ago, how to make your brain earn its salary. Uh, Many more people need to be doing this. And understand that these big jumps that I'm talking about here on the macro speed level, these are going to be uncomfortable for you because they're going to push you out of your comfort zone. But the more willing you are to get out of your comfort zone, the more likely you are to achieve your goals. All that said, text me at my number 305-384-6894 and workonyourgameuniversity.com is the only place to work with me directly. If you're hearing things here that are resonating with you and you know I can help you get to where you want to go from where you are right now, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, schedule time to get on the call with us, and we'll go from there. Work on your game. Dre,